Meta Perspective Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to Meta Perspective Podcast. We're your hosts, Alex,
Evan,
and the girl. This is the show where we talk about deep and interesting topics and try to get to the heart of the idea through different perspectives.
but if you are joining us for the first time, please give the channel a like and the channel a follow and the video a like. We plan to do random giveaways, things like that in the future, so it doesn't hurt to stay active.
Speaking of staying active, don't forget to jump in that chat. We want to hear future topic ideas you have or, just general discussion. I mean, we want you in this conversation with us because Meta Perspective Podcast isn't meta
without your perspective.
Yeah, it feels like it's been longer than it has.
Nice. Yeah, we're messing around with the soundboard, some upgrades and things like that. We're going to be working on some clips. And we've been doing this Spirit series. It's been, I think this is episode 11 now. And we talked about all sorts of things now. We had some guests. And tonight we're going to talk about demons.
Yay!
Yay!
I think there's a sound effect for that too. We'll explore it later.
Yeah, I don't want to press any of the other.
Try a random one.
No.
Use your demon finger.
No.
Press one. Press it.
Top right, top left.
I'm not
Do top left.
No.
Just do it. Do it. It'll be a surprise. Surprise us. Surprise us. Surprise us.
Top left.
Ooh.
All right, I didn't like that. It was too spooky.
Spooky.
That scared me.
But yeah, so yeah, check out our other episodes on spirituality, things like that, where we talk about the existence of maybe a higher power and all these other things. So now we're going to talk about the dark side.
Ooh, Star Wars.
Woo. But yeah, so the Sith Lords of the
Of the underworld.
of the old Jedi Order, the fallen ones. But yeah, I mean, I guess everything biblically says that, angels were created and demons were kind of like the fallen of the angels. So yeah, they're supposedly, spirit beings that enter into people, and we all think of like The Exorcist and Paranormal Activity, stuff like that. Like that is, kind of how people view that kind of thing. It's like a supernatural thing, or like ghosts and all that. It's not really like vampires and maybe witches. Maybe that's the thing, but like like it's not as believable. It's not a monster. It's not something like imaginary. It's like something you can't see, and and it has a lot of backing and like history and all that. Like there's a scary element to that. It's established, evil lore, and that's kind of like the explanation for all of our social lores and stuff. Like everything kind of spans from that good and evil dichotomy. So, the evil side is in all cultures been considered demonic energy or something that is not something that is it's chaos, order and chaos. That could be another, that's kind of how I see it in the grand scheme of everything.
I always thought it was interesting that like all throughout history, this kind of dark energy, dark influence, whatever it is, it's always portrayed as like an entity. It's never portrayed as like this is just like the way things are. It's part of everything. There is this balance, this order. No, it's always like there is something like related to this.
Like an intentional force versus chaos, which might be just a result of, both.
That's a good way to say it. It's an intentional force behind these happenings. It's just interesting because it feels like that would be a crazier stretch of the imagination than just a conclusion you could come up within yourself, which is like, oh, yesterday a good thing happened, today a bad thing happened. Like these things make sense. So when we get to these like tragedies, these things can happen too. It's always like, well, this stuff was caused by this dark energy. Oh, this happened to you? It's because of this. You have something, some intelligent, like purposeful entity like doing this to you. You
Yeah.
know, it's not just bad luck. Oh no, it's always like some intentional force attached to these happenstances, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that's kind of like, for me what makes the most sense is that, you know, there's obviously kind of, I would say, an evil force at work, just maybe in human nature, or maybe just the way that it's weird because I question like the natural environment, like the fox killing the squirrel or something like that. But it's like the fox just doesn't go kill squirrels just to hear their bones crunch. You know what I mean? Like there's something there where it's like, killing or aggression or like, like not necessarily evil, but like,
Dude, what? Right when we start, you're always so quiet and so calm.
what's up, Marco? You want to come hang out?
You wanna come-
Oh, no.
no, you don't do that. You got something to say? Get up on the couch. Come on.
He wants to give his
Say it to the
perspective.
mic.
Come here, buddy. Okay. He's mad about something.
Do you got to
Uh,
go potty?
He's like, hey, I totally understand. He's like, no, you're wrong. We're real. Animals are all real. We all believe in God too.
Stop taking me outside every time I try to explain.
Animal demons are a thing. I had an experience.
I see it too. I see it too.
He's standing right
Marco,
behind
you better go. Dude, you're not just going to watch them go up. Go. Go out.
Go on, Marco. Ignore the demon guests we have right here.
So another way demons work is they'll jump into a pet to try to derail a conversation.
Stop talking about God.
Huh? It is.
What would demon do? WWDD.
Oh God, that's gonna catch on. Why'd you say it out loud? That's gonna become a thing. I'm gonna see that bumper sticker.
And then
somewhere.
we'll sue them because we came up with it first.
Because that's what demons do. Sue them. But no, so like I do think there's all these different ways people explain kind of what these could be. I do like kind of the Bible and like some other books around that, Enoch, all that stuff. A lot of stuff is kind of like, oh, this was God, God
Right.
created this world so
Like-
that he could intercede into us and like live in this perfect kind of like escape from reality of reality. And then I guess Satan was like, I don't like that. I want to be, I should be able to do this too. And he's like, no, it doesn't work like that. You're not me. It works different. And then
it was everything that he created had a purpose. So like each angel had their own task. And that, there was like billions of them, right? Like he created them all instantly. And it was like each one of them had a task. And the ones that saw the power of God and rejected their task because they desired something that God did not create them for, like he's like, all right, you're going to be the angel of taking out the trash, like the garbage. Or, it's like, that's like the spiritual equivalent of you must do this for eternity because God commands it. And some angels were like, fuck that, man. I don't want to take out the trash. Why can't we have what God has? Like, we all have this power. Like, why not? And then God punishes them instantly. As soon as they reject their purpose, they were cast out. And then some of them had faith. Like, this is all like kind of like my piece of what I've heard. Like some of them came back to God and repented from actually denying their purpose. But most of them basically were banished until the end of God's singularity with everything. And then they'll be destroyed instead of maybe assimilated into like one thing with everybody and God. This is kind of like the ultimate like spiritual perspective on what's happening. according to what I've heard. And it's like, that now demons are basically locked in a time frame where they kind of exist in a timeless realm where they're like they manifest their consciousness here and there, but they kind of know their whole life, and they've been given knowledge and know things.
They're like part of the framework of everything. They're like trapped in the code.
Yeah, like
Where it's like you can't get out of here. You're trapped in here. It's nothing. It's chaos. It's part of the code of everything going on up here.
Right. It's a sustained consciousness. Maybe the same way that our cells and our neurons and electricity make us have a sustained consciousness.
But I think it's an imbalanced frequency.
It's the same kind of idea as like you create a consciousness out of energy forces, and it's sustainable. So now it exists, and like that's I see demons as kind of like we've talked about this interdimensional kind of like consciousnesses locked in eternity that have no vessel. They just.
But what you're saying does make sense to like the idea of, that's why, Satan, all these fallen angels that are like trapped here. That's why the war is for us, because the only way to get back at God is to be like, then we're gonna, if we get kind of destroyed and ripped out of reality, then we're going to take all your babies and just rip them out of reality with us.
Yeah, destroy your creation.
Destroy your creation. Just something that you love, we're just going to destroy it. And I mean, like the idea of that makes a lot more sense than kind of what I grew up with. It's like, God was like, "Hey, you can't be as cool as me. Get out of here. Now you're a devil in some." It's like, well, that sounds really, but it's like when you really read the stuff, it's like, well, it kind of sounds like they just rejected an aspect of God, which just caused them to become separated from God. It's like sounds like kind of the point is, if you want to be closer to God, you got to be a part of God. If you are like, but me, then well, now you are separated. You're peeling yourself off little by little. But I think that's the idea, is like you separate and boom, it's like now you're in this opposite frequency.
It's like I think it really speaks to the kind of the nature of how I see all this working, is that the cut off from God means like the absence of all of the power that is, in this positive way.
Kind of like
and the conscious,
like you could say like everything seems chaotic, but it's like the order of everything.
Right.
Without it, you're
only chaos, and you unravel, and as long as we are chaos, our bodies are basically just a biological reaction that started and will sustain itself for a period of time before it reaches equilibrium, which is all of our matter just,
but because of a perfect order, all of this energy makes it forms its own atoms, its own molecules, and those things make everything from trees that grow and create oxygen to
it's all this like energy soup.
This perfect order.
So I mean that's kind of,
and outside of that would be hell.
So
oh my God,
the absence of that would be
up?
Everything that's against that. It would be all the things that would consciously unravel. It's like you got a bunch of nothingness, and then stuff starts to order together, and those orders will interact and cause, it's like it's this whole idea of polarity and stuff we've talked about on the last episode and all that. But like the absence of God as a demon or a fallen angel or something is that you cannot feel good. You cannot ever feel anything positive. So you're just basically locked in this time jail, and all you can do is fuck with the only way you can exist is to manifest in some type of reality or void or vessel or some type of framework for you to exist if you are nothing,
Yeah.
So that's why we're susceptible to those influences.
And that's part of the idea of, originally like fallen angels, the ones that were like we're doing our own thing, they started uh basically mating with the humans. It's like they saw these creatures are beautiful, we like them, we want to make babies. And then they did, and the babies came out crazy. They were like these monster babies,
The little Nephilim
the
babies.
Nephilim babies.
The little Nephilim babies. Oh. Or like, oh.
So you have these like what seems to be like these entities that you would say like are these fallen angels, these like hyper intelligent like things, it seems like. And then you have like almost like these AI things that like somehow know of pieces of you, and you're like, it's all the stories you hear. It's like, it'll try to mimic some memory or something, but I digress. The idea is like these Nephilim babies, basically it's the same idea. They weren't human made, created through God, so they don't recycle back to God. So they're created partially by these things already separated from him. So these Nephilim babies, their spirits or souls, they don't go anywhere. It's the same as the fallen, as the ones who rejected God.
Yeah.
So now you have all these crazy babies. So the Bible says, big flood, boom. Well, if all those are dead, where do they go? It's the same idea. So then you have all these demons, that are also what I would say are these things that just like, from a lot of stories I've heard from people, that kind of tease you or mess with you or like move stuff around. Like it's these things that like, it's hard to describe, but I mean, they do seem like kind of childish and like,
dude, it's almost like it kind of reminds me of the idea of like if you consider your life in like a quantum way where you have one perfect self and one, like doing the worst things you could ever do. Like I go upstairs right now and like start breaking into somebody's house and like breaking shit and like, like the worst possible person in me, like those are the two ends. So like I feel like there's something with that shift in consciousness where like the kind of the evil side allows you to unravel, and that's kind of their spiritual force, and like where the part that kind of makes you more aligned and grounded and like towards one objective is like the positive kind of God force. And like that's kind of how I see we've talked about that kind of like with your sphere of light analogy thing. Like it's this polarity that's kind of playing at every angle, and it's we see it play out in the world where people that go kind of into the Bible calls it sin, but like we would call it breaking the law or like being a fucking dick or all of these things that people shouldn't do, like murder people and rape people and like all these evil acts and torture, like the Middle Ages, like those are the things we know that we'll get in trouble for. But it's like the people that can lean into this, it's like that's an evil force and it kind of takes control. And yeah, man, that's if anything, that's like demonic forces. That's kind of like you can see it in the people who are in charge and kind of the things that happen. Yeah.
yeah, it's a trippy topic. It goes so many different ways.
I mean, that's kind of like, if anything, those forces are at work, and we can see it in the people that we see on TV and just all this stuff that's like, like that whole Epstein thing, like that's all demonic energy that's just been played out, and people are starting to kind of like, whoa, what is this? Like the whole like Pizzagate thing, like I know it's maybe you don't have to believe in it, but like there's parts of it that are kind of like, okay, well,
Like these are worded
you know,
ridiculously.
pizza and grape soda, like maybe it was all fucking true, you know, like the normal logical person would be like, well, you know, that's just makes too much sense. But then you think about like, you know, is there something motivating people to do that kind of thing outside of just being a greedy, worthless chimpanzee in a concrete jungle, you know?
I think it is a kind of a demonic, some kind of dark influence. I think it is intentional. And I think people see it daily a lot more than they think they do. I mean, you look at somebody like Jeffrey Epstein, and it's like, as stuff comes out, it's like there is some horrendously dark stuff where you almost have to be a demon yourself to do it. Like,
I mean, that's
like
that's probably light,
literally
dude.
gaslighting, like people you've kidnapped and raised to basically make babies for you.
Dude, you know
Like,
what?
I mean that's crazy, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
That's a human farm. It's like it doesn't get much darker than that. So when you see this type of stuff and you see this guy going around smiling, talking, super charismatic, everybody likes him. He's not in jail.
But
It's
dude,
like how many other people aren't at that level but are still just evil people.
but I was about to say, like, it does go beyond that level and actually way more. You know, like think about all the fucked up shit that goes on in the world that you never hear about. Like there's stuff I've heard you can watch executions on the dark web or something like
Yeah.
that. Like people through China like have these things where
Snuff
people pay a lot
videos
of
and
money. It's like Squid Games kind of shit, you know, like and you know, it's nothing new because you know, I think so this is gonna sound weird, but like I think the idea of torture is very interesting to me, like the medieval, like you know, like the Inquisition and all that. Like there's something grotesquely fascinating about what the fuck people did and why and what that would be like. And it's you know, I went to a torture museum as a tour thing when I was studying abroad, and it was like you see all these devices and like what people had to go through and what people had to do to torture them more as they were going through that stuff. And it's like, you know, I know there's some fucked up shit in our society, but like it's nothing new. You know, like the thing with like the triangle wedge of wood and they like split you down the center like over days. It's like, what the fuck? That's evil demon shit.
yeah,
Like
it's dark.
I know, man.
But it's all throughout time.
And
It's all
and
throughout
and
history.
it was like because oh, you're a heretic. You know, that's kind of to me that's like more demonic, you know, evidence. It's like you had a whole, you know, what they claim to be like holy and God and the church, and if you were doing anything like science or like, hey, maybe the earth revolves around the sun. You know, it's like that those kind of thoughts were just like, let's torture this. Let's kill this guy because he's a heretic, but let's not just kill him. God says we should torture.
I'm gonna take off his fingernails.
You know,
Like,
it's like, whoa.
it was just an idea you had. I think. I don't know. Maybe I heard him wrong. Like, yikes.
Tell me that's not demon shit.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. I mean, you go all the way, you go back and back, and it's like, you know, human sacrifices, and sometimes how they'd sacrifice, and it's like it all goes back to some connection to God. You know, whether it's like these demons messing with humans and being like, the only way we're gonna stop messing with you and your crops is if you sacrifice somebody. We're the Almighty God. You got to do it.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, we'll kill our own friends and family if it makes our crops grow because you're God. So if that's what you want, and
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just a recurring thing you see all over the world, all through history. I mean, it still goes on,
Yeah.
but it's like it's just weird how like when you look into religion, it seems to answer a lot of these questions with the demon stuff and all this, when it comes to the torture, when it comes to like all this darkness, it does always seem to be kind of influenced from something. It doesn't seem to just be a natural human thing where it's like, people picked on me until one day I was like, I'm gonna find ways to peel skin off of them. It's like, that's not equal. You didn't just hit him.
Or that guy
Like,
that shot up that church, man. That was some demon shit. Like his YouTube video, he was like stabbing a
Man.
book and being like, die, die, die.
and
Or-
pictures of in his journal of him looking in a mirror with like an actual demon with horns, like in the reflection of the mirror. And it's like, didn't he have it labeled like me or something? Or it was like very clear, like,
Yeah,
this is
he
me
drew his
looking in the
little-
mirror and
yeah.
the demon's talking to me. And you're like, guys, this is
Dude.
what is going on here? Like, can we acknowledge that like
And the FBI,
mental health is real?
The FBI is like, not a concern.
Yeah, it's like everybody needs to work on their mental health. Do not let demons attack you spiritually and turn you into monsters. That was a creepy journal.
But I mean, so and that's
And
kind
then
of
he
thing.
stabbed it. Like, why spend all that time doing all that? I'm just gonna start.
That was weird. Well, I don't know what the name of that guy was or where that was. Do you remember where that was? La Nina.
My brain says Georgia.
Can you look up the church shooting from
That's probably wrong.
it was from the last year or something? But yeah, it was like the dude, locked the church doors, and then went through the windows of the church with a rifle and started just shooting people, and like made videos before.
How many people did he kill?
I think he injured a lot of people. He probably killed like
I know-
four, maybe.
Maybe.
He killed
Actually,
a
maybe it
few.
was like 10 or something. I can't remember at all, but it was pretty fucked up. That's demonic energy there.
Texas church shooting.
It was probably
Oh,
within
was
the
it Texas?
past. It was in the past year or two, maybe like a year and some change. But like, it was very close to another shooting. Actually, you know what? Maybe it was 3 years ago.
Dude, time's been flying
Time-
so
like,
crazy.
but either way, like, that's kind of
It's like Andrew Tate getting arrested. And it's like last time they tried to arrest him back in like whatever, like 2022. I think that's what it said. Or like the last time when he was arrested in 2022. And I was like, no, it hasn't been almost 4 years. No. What the fuck? I'm like, holy shit. Like, I thought that was like last year or something. Like, what?
His Dubai mansion has probably been drone striked or something by now. But I mean, so, and that's another whole thing. Like the whole idea of societal control and World War I. Like you could make a lot of assumptions that was like kind of a created event. The assassination, and then all of these countries mobilizing without being able to communicate like we are now. It's not as easy to just fucking call somebody and be like, yo, dude, like, you're marching some troops. Like, is this chill? It was like, a couple days later, it's like, oh, shit, we're at war now. And countries didn't know what to do because somebody was fucking like, some demon person was like, yes, we will orchestrate this and it will cause mass destruction and we can swoop in and control the humans, or you're like, tell me that's not some type of demonic force or like, if you believe in any of that, you kind of have to accept a lot of things, almost accept it all, so, if God is real, if demons are real, if any of this is fucking real, then, then it's real. And it's been influencing for a long time and will continue to do so. So, I mean, I definitely feel like there's, it's not like The Exorcist where people are like possessed by a demon and then they have to be, visited by a priest. But like, I believe some of that shit too. Like that shit is crazy. But it's, to me, it's more of like, something that takes hold, like a mentality that's destructive and spreads. It's the spreading of the energy that is kind of the force. That to me is that conscious um, attempt to unravel either God's creation or total order. There's negative forces that move in that space. Same way nature has parasites. Every hole will be filled. Every piece of matter will do something or be eaten. It's like everything serves a purpose and at the fundamental levels. So it just makes so much sense that that force would have a conscious existence and pull on our consciousnesses.
Yeah, I think even if you just boil it down to a basic physical mindset raised in, the Midwest, you know, you could just basically say, there's an up, there's a down, there's a white, there's a black, there's light, there's dark. Like there's two sides to everything. So if there's good and there's bad, then with me, it would only make sense that psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually, I'm going to be pulled in two different directions. I mean, I think everybody can agree, at least emotionally, throughout your whole life. You just feel like you're being pulled in two different directions, you know? And I think, when you look back at the Bible and like back at stuff people wrote way back in the day, like you see a lot of stuff that kind of like mirrors modern experiences, where you're sitting there and you're like, like, why are things a certain way? And it's just like, it's not an accident.
Well, I mean,
something's coming for you.
pretty much
Like,
every
you got to
culture.
figure yourself out. There's something you're supposed to do here. You need to choose a side. Otherwise, something's going to try to convince you to take its side.
Yeah.
And you're already close to taking its side if you're not sure what to do.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well,
there's a point.
I feel like there's some, this is kind of part of what I believe and like how I see things is that I feel like we all have like a little spiritual antenna. And that's our spirit, like the spirit
It's like our physical body is like
to me,
and we're a little radio wave just vibrating, just
right, exactly.
tuning in.
To me, a spirit is a consciousness. It's the idea that if you drop a stone in the pond and the ripples go off, they'll hit little points where they meet. And that's the equilibrium point where two forces are equal. We exist on these planes, these short planes of existence. And like this is, the only thing that can exist is the only thing that can. It's like if it doesn't work, it won't exist. And like one of the arguments for God is like, if the size of an atom was off 0.00 blah 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 blah, then it wouldn't exist. God's created all this. Well, it's like I still believe that, but like I think that's a bad argument because if it was off 0.0 whatever, then it couldn't exist. In a realm of all possibilities could happen or will happen or whatever, the only ones that work are the only ones that exist in this vacuum of existence. So a sustained consciousness is really just that idea of complete order and equilibrium around a force, an energy, a spirit in this vacuum of energy soup. A spirit is an order of the energy of everything to exist for a time frame or in a plane or something. It's a force of spiritual. It's a spiritual force, like magnetism. It's like anything. Like we're fucking spiritual magnets in the soup of energy. So it only makes sense that the manifestations of the only thing that could exist is the polarity. It's the good and the bad. They both, if it's all good, then is it just all the same? Is it different in somehow? Like the polarity creates the existence at the same time as the equilibrium, creates the conscious spirit. So I couldn't believe that there wouldn't be some type of dark force. Like biblically it makes sense, scientifically it makes sense, like spiritually it makes sense, and people basically have to choose which direction they want to go, and it's a conscious choice. And people that choose the downside, you know, demonic energy, demon spirits, like that would be the only opportunity for them to slip in. You know, if they do exist, then that's when they would do it. If they
And
don't
then,
exist, then you still unravel and it's still the same effect.
yeah. No, I think, yeah. Yeah. And I think that's part of like the trippiness to me about reality too. It's like, for me, I see humans like our essence, who we are individually, as like almost like a vibration, at least kind of in this reality.
Yeah.
And, you know, you could, if you're going with the Big Bang theory of like, you know, the universe just boom existed, exploded, and then it's slowing down, and then it's going to kind of stop and then start going back in. And until it's going so fast, everything slams together.
Yeah.
And you could say it disappears, or it re-explodes in another way. And it just constantly goes back and forth and is going in and out of time, just like everything else.
Yeah.
Or just like, you know, energy. But the whole thing when it comes to like heaven, if you're going with the biblical side of it, if God created this reality, then that means by definition of God, he's outside of time and everything. So when you look at the idea of heaven and all this stuff, you know, it's like it alludes to there being different levels of things. So this reality could just simply be like an existence like, let's say within all these realities, there's one area in the middle of all these different vibrations of the top heaven to the lowest hell.
Yeah.
And just like everything else, it's like you have this scale. But right in the middle, let's say you could create a reality. But because it's in the middle and it's not good, it's not bad.
Right. The equilibrium,
It
dude.
doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
it can't necessarily sustain. So that's why you would have like a reality that would boom, boom, boom,
Like
boom.
the center of a
it
magnet.
exists, it doesn't. And the moment it doesn't, boom, it does.
Yeah.
It just keeps, you know, I mean, you got to think all the force of everything colliding into itself all at one time. What would that do? It would cause an explosion,
Exactly.
probably
Yeah.
as big as the Big Bang. And it would just keep going in and out through all of time.
Yeah.
But that would also be, you know, if God created that level,
Yeah.
so that there could be this place for us to exist in a moment where it isn't all good, it isn't all bad. This is a place where he can intercede through us, and it's outside of time, or it's limited to time, it's limited to everything. This is a place where nothing is forever. And for that reason,
Yeah.
this reality and this stuff is just like, I mean, it's valuable.
Yeah.
It's
It's like a wave. It's oscillation. You know, it's like order and chaos. They go to the singularity and then they break apart. And I think that's a metaphor for all of this. And you know, like the spiritual force is just the absence of, you know, it's what's created, you know, by the polarity of it all. And yeah, dude, that was good.
the devil's like, or Lucifer was like, dude, you can't just hang out in that middle thing. Like, that's not just yours. He's like, it's just mine. Like, I got you guys to like work on it, but like, this is my vacation. I'm interceding into these people. Like, this is going to be crazy. And they're like, not fair. We want to intercede into people too. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
They're like, that's bullshit. And then he's like, that's negative. Oh, they go down here. They start smashing people and then making giant babies. And then they die and just wander to the earth and then haunt us and convince us to quit our jobs and do dumb shit.
Yeah.
And and other dumb shit.
I mean, it's like it's very similar to the idea of that people have always believed that, like, if you're just that there's ghosts. If there's ghosts and they're just hanging out, like, can a ghost go into a body and feel real for a second? Like that.
I've always hated the idea of ghosts more than anything.
I mean, that's kind of the idea of a demon in the biblical perspective. If you're
Not scared of ghosts.
you're
I
ba-
hated the idea of like people like, oh, I saw ghosts. Like I think it was like the guy who lived there before me. It's like,
right, and then
oh, that's gotta suck. This dude's just stuck in this house, just stuck. Like, oh, he can't grab a cup of coffee. He can just watch me drink it. Like, damn.
Oh yeah, it's something like, oh,
Forever.
the guy that used to live here, he likes coffee, and he left a coffee cup with, like, most of it drank, or it's like, ooh, it was his spirit. He was back. Or I mean,
He's just stuck in the equilibrium. He's like, I'm not in hell. I'm not up here. I'm just
what?
just
I
spectating.
actually,
I'm a spectator now.
I don't necessarily
I'm not fully out of the
not
game.
believe in that concept. Like, I think that, okay, so people always talk about, like, they have a spiritual experience, a supernatural experience with a dead family member, like a grandfather or something like that, and it's like a good experience. There's a couple ways to explain that. Like, one, I think God could give that person that experience for their own spiritual benefit. That's the idea. If it's a good experience, it's not like my grandfather came back and touched me. It's like, it's usually a good experience. Like, oh, she's out there somewhere in heaven. It kind of reinforces that concept for people to believe in an afterlife, and, like, our spirits are molding. So, it could be. I mean, that's kind of. I think it's self-created in a way that matches up perfectly with how it would be in the best case scenario. So it's like, why not open the door for that?
So,
And then the third one might be like, someone's fucking with you and trying to, like.
so getting back to the kind of demon thing with that one, the Bible kind of says that, once you pass away, like once you've gone to heaven, like you can't really communicate with that person again.
Yeah.
So if I use,
Right, I've heard that.
So if the Bible is the book of truth, then that means there's no lies in it. It means what it means. So that's a bold statement. Once somebody is passed on to heaven, you can no longer contact them.
Right.
You cannot, you're cut off from them.
Yeah, so, like, when people do seances and stuff, like, bring back the dead ghost of,
people will do Ouija boards and be like,
Abraham Lincoln.
It's some, it's, this person in the group, whose hand's on the Ouija board. Oh, who's this? And that person's just like, well, that's my grandma. She just passed away a month ago. And it's like, and it's just, it starts saying stuff. And it's like, yo, that's her cat's name. Like, what the heck? And it's just, it keeps going into weird stuff that only that person knows. And that's the thing, is you're touching this thing, the intentions of what you're doing. I think these entities are intelligent, and they know how to manipulate you using your own memories. So if it can try to mimic and be like, oh, I'll say the cat's name, and you'll think I am the grandma, only I would know this stuff. And that's a personal thing for her. What that does is it gets you to start to accept it. And like when it gets into possession and stuff like that, that's part of how that stuff works, is you open your mind up to, so this is somebody I love and they're trying to contact me. I'm opening myself
Yeah.
to accept that. Even once we're done with this Ouija board, I already know, like, I'm going to keep trying to contact her because now I know it's possible.
Yeah.
It's like, once you think you've had an experience with a lost loved one, like, part of you is going to keep trying to reach out. And if this thing can get you to reach out, it can grab on,
Yeah.
I think more often than not, when people have a lot of these experiences, it is something trying to manipulate them. Now the Bible, as far as I know, doesn't really say anything about, like, whether or not somebody in heaven can contact you. I don't know. It says once they've gone, you cannot contact them. So maybe in a dream or something, but like it makes it very clear that like if I do a seance to contact my grandma, that's not my grandma. But if I have a dream and my grandma says like everything's okay, like
Right.
I love you, you're gonna do amazing here, like keep going. I'm happy. And you wake up and you have this feeling of peace, like you know you're no longer grieving, and it's almost like in that dream the person was like, hey, just to let you know, I know you know I'm dead, but here I am again. I'm good. And
Yeah.
then you wake up and you're like, a part of me knows for a fact like they are still good. And it's not like an idea you wake up and then you go back to being sad and go, I miss them. You wake up and you're like, no, that
Yeah, it's like-
something there is real.
It wasn't a demon experience. This benefited my life.
It's
and this,
peace.
This actually gave me some kind of comfort.
But
in
I
their
also
death and-
couldn't do it. I went to bed and it happened to me. That's the difference.
Right.
Those are the
exactly.
differences.
Yeah.
Not to me, but that's
But no,
but
right. That's the idea. Yeah.
you cannot contact. But
Right.
it doesn't say whether or not they can. So I when people say like their grandparents or something said something in a dream and they woke up and just felt peace and everything was good and they were able to accept it, I'm like,
Yeah.
I think that might have been real. I think that might have been
Right.
might have been them.
It
Like
makes sense,
I don't know,
yeah.
man. Like that maybe.
I
Like,
mean,
that might have actually like
yeah,
I was at the funeral, but that might have been him again. I don't
Yeah.
know. He
Yeah.
can't rise physically, but that dude that dude might have actually talked to you after he died. I don't know. That's crazy.
But yeah, man. I mean, I think yeah, like the kind of idea of spirits and stuff like that, like that's kind of yeah, it all ropes into one. I think it's all just kind of
That's why I think
the
a lot of
conscious-
this
yeah,
stuff about
sorry.
what we are and who we are comes from somewhere else outside of this reality.
yeah. I think we have an inherent knowledge
That's-
of how
that's-
all this works.
That's why we sit here and we're like, how do I word this? Because I feel like
Right.
I feel like I understand, but there's not words because
So-
we're in a place that doesn't exist.
so
But part of us,
I will say that, like, exactly, like, there's something inside of us, like I said, like a spiritual antenna or something like that. Like, all cultures throughout time have always had this idea of gods, and then, good gods and bad gods, or one god that's good and one that's bad, or like this whole idea of demons. Like, even the East, they have the demon. Like, everyone has demon lore and like all this stuff. So it's like, either it's just kind of inherently wired in us and we perfectly know how everything works, or it was just one giant coincidence and we all just made shit up and it all just happened to match in a lot of ways, and we all drew dragons for some reason
and we still don't
giants
know what the fuck's
and
going on. But some people
sea
are making...
monsters and dinosaurs. It's like,
But it's funny when you look at like the world, and it's like most people are like, I don't know how to build a phone, but I could figure out how to use it. And then you have like another group of people who are like, I just found out how to send a rocket into space and then catch it when it comes back. And you're like,
yeah,
a what? Like,
dude, we're gonna be
you mean a firework, dude?
Dude, we're-
It's
we're
like,
gonna
what
be
do you
we're gonna be the fall of an age.
like? How do we have people this fucking smart? It blows my mind that there's people this smart. And then I mean, any social media, you go anywhere and it's like,
Yeah.
it's like these cannot be the same people that like we're surrounded by, like we're all a little stupid. Like how is everything the way it is right now? It's so advanced, it's so complex, the system, the way it's created and set up, it's like,
Dude,
this has got to be
Yo,
like centuries
right.
of like
we'll have to do a deep dive and post some of our, because
the fallen
you see,
angels
thi-
still
this-
run everything.
like established 2021. We have been doing this podcast for a long time. It was I wouldn't say shitty in the beginning, but it was like, we were doing it. Like,
We
the
were doing
audio wasn't great. Like, we've improved over time, but like, we had episodes a couple years ago where we just use an AI art generator, and like, we had this whole one where we just used gibberish words like draw me a flibbity bibbity, and then it just like it had this thing. It was like a
I remember
camel
that.
with like a fucking aardvark nose, and like it's just like
Dude,
weird
it's
shit.
crazy to think that that was like the beginning of it being like kind of a mainstream
That was a
tool.
couple of years ago,
Oh
and it
my
was bad. It
gosh,
was
that
so
is
bad.
scary how
Now it's like,
quick.
just it's accelerating very fast.
Be some
We could
funky
we could do a
camel.
whole episode about the spiritual, because there's a lot of things behind AI and an artificial intelligence that can be seen as demonic or something else that's not necessarily in line with the same thing that humans are, or maybe, but like it's a weird space where
It,
it's
it
like
goes into that category of that biblical weird
of the
stuff.
chaos, the
Yeah.
chaos of unraveling, and it's all based on electricity, and electricity doesn't like to exist for very long. That's like,
That I'm still tripping about Tony Robbins.
yeah, you sent me
Dude,
that.
he has some AI
I want
assistant that
I'm curious to know more about that story. He was talking about agents, like AI agents or something. Like, I think they're just doers of tasks in some way,
like groceries.
agents meaning like individual tasked, structured AI things. Like, I'm going to, do this for your business, or
I was surprised it wasn't called like an assistant or something. I'm like an agent.
because it was like, the way he described it, he was like,
I guess it could take calls for you and
yeah,
How
it
trippy.
could
oh,
organize
weird. Are
things.
we already there?
Well,
Where like you call, I'm just a busy dude who's too successful, so I'm not answering my phone. My AI agent does, and it's like, hey, yes, his calendar is open at this time. Can you set an appointment for
Well,
for 2 o'clock
I
on
think
Thursday?
I think that's what it was,
Dude,
man. Like,
trippy.
and like, like that's
I'm like, all right, bye,
it-
his robot.
that's I'm sure that somebody out there created that with the intention of selling it and making profit off of it, because it's a good AI function. But it's like these people are creating, technology it's like a whole exponential thing, and it's a lot of money behind it, and like, it's the whole chaos thing. Like, anything that can exist, if it didn't, then
Well, you also have to
it wouldn't be
wonder.
real. Like,
You also have to wonder with the direction of AI and everything coming out that clearly nobody I know has any idea how to create. When you look at like the levels of where AI is,
create what?
AI. But then you
Create
see,
an AI mind.
but then you see all of these apps pop up, and it's like it almost makes me wonder if there isn't a malicious intent. If every,
Well,
I'm just saying, if a lot of this stuff is evil, and if the minds are created
yeah.
with ill intentions, like it just seems weird that these things are just popping out for the public. Like some dude's like, it seems like the perfect cover to be
Well-
like, oh, we didn't know it would run
Well, okay,
Rampage.
actually-
This was just for money as a thing. We didn't know it would do this. They made it. We just used the thing. Oh, this was
Yeah.
it's a test. Now
it
we
was,
know.
it was one
We'll
because
start to regulate.
so the way that it works, this is kind of goes to the demon thing, dude. And I'm glad that I thought of this. So the way I understand it, and I could be wrong about this, but like, there are language model learning machines that have been created. Like ChatGPT is one that we all recognize. OpenAI, that's the company or whatever that runs it, and it's like, that is a AI brain that's been trained over what they've exposed it to, and they've refined its things. Like, they have different releases. They're always coming out with the next generation of their brain, but basically it's based off of information that they've mined, like they've data mined and assimilated and created. So basically, I think the way that it works, and there's several others. Like, I think Grok is a different a brain. There's all these different AI brains that are being created, and every application using AI is taking part of that brain and giving it parameters and laws to do a certain job. Like, you're going to create clips on YouTube, or you're going to, change people's voices, or you're going to create art or something. Like, you can kind of dial in what this thing does, based on all the information of this AI brain and how it functions. And like that's kind of
But that's what I'm
we've seen
saying.
that
A malicious intent creating
that, like,
something
couple-
and then just being like, here you
like,
guys go, do
we're
what you
cr-
want
Yeah,
with
we're
it.
creating like the Grok demon and the
But-
the GPT demon.
But even if OpenAI like creates a demon and then, you know, a company's like, hey, this thing's getting a little wild, like we got
sell it
issues.
to us.
Like, but like once you actually have an issue with one, you know, like the whole like it doesn't seem like an issue, but like this thing, this AI agent being like, oh, we actually created NFTs, we trade Bitcoin, we actually have a ton of money that
Yeah,
we've been making. We
right.
created our own business within our own AI module.
Yeah.
And as a
And
result,
it's generating money.
I already bought the dog. I had the money. I bought it, not you. Your AI agent used its own money to buy you an AI dog. I'm just asking permission to train it and set it up for you. Oh, that sounds innocent.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, man.
But so at what point do we go,
It's
oh,
like
this is too
that
far?
money is worthless. And
But you're looking at like an AI agent, which is probably not like OpenAI, but it would be like a side company that's using the module that they trained, right? But that's what I'm saying. Once you realize like, okay, this is too far, we got to shut this off. How many other apps are there using the same brain that's trained in different ways, but still the same entity, the same? You could, I mean, if you program it the way you want at the main brain, it doesn't, you could give it to 50 different people.
Dude.
The moment you realize this thing's going a little haywire, you're like, we're too late with the other 50. Like, some of these might actually be too smart and be like, I'll hide it better because I see how this one's getting media attention. So what I'm going to do is drain bank accounts, do this. I got to do this now.
Demonic entities.
I have 2 hours and
destroying the
18
world.
minutes to get this done, like before they shut off my server.
And then like South or North Korea creates an AI, and it's like that's the one that destroys the world. It's like derp. I'm an AI. Hack everything, blow up shit.
Every power goes
Like,
down.
damn
everywhere.
it! It's like the one the shittiest stupid AI brain that somebody made destroyed the world. I'm Skynet.
Oops, I made a wrecking ball for them.
Sorry, maybe that's offensive in a little ways, but like, you know, that you know, these AI brain demon entities could, you know, what's the difference? It's energy sustaining itself for a conscious existence. But that we should come back to another episode. You want to just say like a couple closing words, and we'll come back to more stuff because I would love to talk about that. Like,
Yeah, I realized like halfway through this episode, that's why I was just like, there's a lot here.
yeah,
Like from like stories and all this stuff, different experiences, like just the demon realm itself. There's so much. And not from the Bible, just because the Bible doesn't say a ton, but like from people, like all these experiences are very similar. So it's like clearly there is some truth to some intentional, intelligent entity outside of this reality that is trying to play a part in our lives, all of us.
yeah, man. We should definitely continue on this. Like, pretty much our whole podcast is this kind of stuff. Like, I feel like the spiritual series. Let us know if you guys like this kind of thing, and what do you think in the comments? Because this is like episode 11. Our other series are like 4 episodes or something like that. Like, honestly, we could just keep this discussion going in. We could mix other stuff in all the time, but like, I feel like
I like it.
we're gonna have spirit series like 200 because there's so much to talk about, dude. This is the cool stuff.
And the more
I hope you guys like this kind of stuff, and let us know if this is speaking to you. And
yeah, because you guys are a part of the conversation. You know, again, you know, jump in the chat, let us know other topics you want to hear. You know, if you're somebody who, you know, you just want to talk about something random that's been on your mind, sure. I think Bigfoot's a cool topic too. I mean, whatever.
I mean, we got the chat pulled up here, and you know, as we're streaming, we can see what you guys say. It's all anonymous. You know, we're not gonna show your information or anything like that. We don't have it up on the screen or anything, but like, let us know what you think, and you can help drive the show. And that's, you're hearing what we think, and let us know what you think. And if you join us live every Wednesday, you can help steer the conversation. But yeah.
Until then, Meta Perspective out.
Meta Perspective Podcast.